I think what's clearly happened, if we look at the economics profession response, it's in some turmoil. And I think it's, for academics, this is very beneficial turmoil. Some people, perhaps the majority, are probably going to go back and say, we were right all along. We don't need to change anything. Everything was perfect. We're not going to disavow our entire professional lifetime's contribution. And they're going to argue that there were some special events, and we can already see that coming out. Some special causes, special events that caused this crisis, but we need to change nothing. My own guess, however, is that in the profession, because there are lots of senior economists who do have different perspectives, a lot of youngsters coming into the profession now will see this whole field has opened up. They can now start really looking to the question of what causes crises, what causes instability, what are the lessons of this for macroeconomic management. So I think we will see a long-term, this won't be short-term, a long-term ferment in the profession, just as the Great Depression changed the whole profession and the great inflation of the 70s changed it again. So I think this will be very, very significant. Now, policymakers have a different sort of time horizon. They have to fix things now before all this reaches some sort of consensus, if we ever get there. Perhaps one of the lessons of this is that we won't have consensus. But I think my fear at the moment is that policymakers will probably end up by not doing enough, because the pressures, now that the immediate crisis has been resolved from the sector, given very limited political capital and political attention, the pressures are basically to say it was really not that serious. It wasn't much of a problem. We've solved it. The money's gone back to the government. Leave us alone. We'd start all over again. I really am concerned that we'll end up with a system which is going to do this again. And the second part of it is that we don't actually yet have a completely coherent and agreed view of what the solution is. And that's partly because I think it is inherently very difficult to know what it is, how radical you should be, and partly because, as I already indicated, the economists who study these things haven't yet got to that point. So I'm really concerned that it will be, at the policy level, back to something close to business as usual, except that in some respects, as a result of the rescue, we've got an even more dangerous system, because now all the creditors know they're going to be saved. And in addition, of course, the institutions that have emerged are essentially a big cartel of even fewer institutions than before. And they are free to do pretty well what they like, because the money that they are playing with is guaranteed by the government. So this is a very perverse outcome. In many ways, I think we might say that the financial system we're looking at today could end up even more dangerous than the one that went into the crisis.